So the time has come and we're given Mortal Kombat 1. Not to be confused with the original Mortal Kombat game that came out of the arcades, and then later in Super Nintendo and Genesis. And also not to be confused with actually Mortal Kombat 9 that came out on PS3 and the Xbox 360. This is Mortal Kombat 1 from NetherRealm Games, and it's available on PS5, Xbox Series, Nintendo Switch, and PC. Yes, you heard me correct, it's on Switch. Which was pretty much getting laughed on by a lot of people on the internet for the goofiest reasons, which I'm not going to say. But I will just tell you guys this is not a reboot for those who are going to claim such thing. It's actually a direct follow-up from Mortal Kombat 11, and I'm going to tell you why. The game takes place after that, and you do have the Thunder God Liu Kang. Not that he's a playable character in the story or anything, but he is a part of the game's story, same with Geras. So there's like this story that goes around that they open up this tournament or whatever, but if you guys just look into the cutscenes or whatever, each character, they always try to tend to feel important, and that's actually the first time I've seen a Mortal Kombat game having characters feel important, rather than just like, oh, we're gonna shove this guy, and then he's just gonna like get knocked down immediately, then nothing happens. Dumb stuff, whatever. But yeah, this one showcases like each character, so what happened to their past or traits or whatever. Like how Baraka and a bunch of people became what they are that you see, and you get the rest. How Johnny Cage matured. You get it. It's like a whole thing that you guys can look into. I just want to also make things clear that Scorpion in the game is not Hanzo, it's actually Sub-Zero's, well, the original Sub-Zero's younger brother, to be exact. Besides the story, you also have the Invasions mode, which a little bit reminds me of the first Conquest mode, but this one feels a lot boring and worse. Sure, you can unlock things, but there was a pretty nice touch-up in one of the rooms that actually was in Johnny Cage's house, that has the arcade cabinets of some of the old Midway titles like I think it was Rampage, Primal Rage, some of the older Mortal Kombat games, and more. Oh, and guess what? They got rid of the crypt in favor of microtransactions. You know, in terms of the campaign, they were going step forward, but in other features, they just seem to be going backwards. Why get rid of something that everybody liked? So instead, you have to grind up your own money or pay with your own money to get some random loot or to buy your own cosmetics with real money instead of in-game money for whatever reason being. None of the other games in the series did this. Why get rid of something that wasn't needed to get rid of to begin with? Was that a Warner Brothers thing? Because I feel like it was the publisher's idea, not the developer's idea. And like I said before, there's also this expansion pack, which is $50. And I played it through, and it's short. I guess it's 50 because they also included the characters that come out later, which I thought was dumb. Oh, and guess what? The Black Friday sale was 25 or something like that. Great. Should have been 20 in the first place. But I will say is that the game has revamped mechanics in the game. So you have these cameo characters for whatever reason, which I don't think is needed in Mortal Kombat. And you also have the combo system for each character completely different. There's some that I feel like has been improved, and there's also some I feel that were a little easy to control, or at least utilize as well. At first, some of the newer characters I started playing in the expansion pack, I thought it was weak, but then I quickly got used to the combo system of each character pretty quickly, without even looking at the combo guide itself. But again, I will say is that each character in these games just do a good job making themselves feel important. Now, even though when the game came out during its launch year, it did win Best Multiplayer Game. But it doesn't really matter at this point, because most of the fans I've always seen, including the diehard fans, always just seem to claim that this game is more of a downgrade to what a lot of people love to experience. It's like I said, I think one of the main reasons is just because of the cameo fighters. I don't think they're even needed for a Mortal Kombat title. Sure, we did get other games that pretty much would go on to use melee weapons because they were trying to do something new during the time. Yeah, I get it. We have fighting games that use melee weapons, but Mortal Kombat was trying to introduce something new to its own franchise, including going on 3D. But the second mode that I was saying before was that it just felt boring to play. The story was all fine, which again I actually liked because it made the characters feel important. The multiplayer's alright for the most part, but most people would just try to taunt you on purpose. Now, I haven't really played much of the online portion of the game, so I don't have really much to comment about. But there are going to be like characters, like I said before, like you're going to have to get used to how they'll play, but once you master them, then you'll probably be unstoppable unless you somehow have a foggy memory and then forget some years later. But it's like the crypt should have just been the crypt place where you can use the game gold to get some stuff, not a random lottery thing where it'll just give you a random thing and call it a day unless you really grind and have to pay with real money in order to get some cosmetics. The cosmetics payments is just not a place for Mortal Kombat unless you really are trying to grind for gold. Even with the campaign and the whole tournament stuff, you can still get some pretty good amount of gold, and fatalities can give you a pretty good decent amount of gold as well. But that back in the day, campaign was always the fastest way to get everything. But now since everything's been locked behind a paywall, it just makes this much more of a downgrade than it already should have been. If you guys just play for multiplayer or campaign, then I think you might have a great experience. But other than that, all I can really say is that most of everything I've always just seen is just a pure downgrade experience. So I just recommend you guys just play the older Mortal Kombat games you can before you play this one, and then you can give your thoughts on everything. And I have played games like Mortal Kombat Armageddon, Mortal Kombat 9, 11, you get it. But that's just to say that this should have just been a superior title, but instead, it's just been a downgraded infestation of microtransactions, which has again no place in Mortal Kombat. I don't know why they did this, but again, I think it has something to do with the game publisher. Most of everything I've always been seeing has everything to do with gaming publishers at this point, and it just makes everything inferior to everything. If they didn't have microtransactions, I think this would have been a great game. But it's not bad either. But that's all I can say. If you guys like to play fighting games and want to try something new or play this and follow the story, then by all means, if you guys like the campaign, then I say go for it.